This is softball review for rules and scorekeeping. These are just some general refreshers for scorekeeping. First thing, when signing in participants, please write legibly because we have to read it in the office, and if we have to read a bunch of chicken scratch, then it's not good for us. So please make a conscious effort to write legibly. When signing in, participants need a government issued ID or Eagle ID, so driver's license, Eagle ID, passport. It must be a photo ID though. It cannot just be their gun permit. Also, something to think about, no jewelry. Be proactive about it. When signing someone in, if they have a necklace on, go ahead and let them know, hey man, you can't wear that necklace. Go ahead and take that off. You must write the entire 900 number. This helps us out in the office when we are trying to look up a participant for eligibility or any incident that occurred on the field. It really helps us out, so write the entire 900 number if you're signing someone in by hand. Circle the winning team. It just helps to eliminate confusion in the office. So it seems obvious, but just circle the winning team and write the score on the winning team side and circle that as well. The final score and stats should match. So if Team A hits 3 home runs, they should at least win 3-0. If Team A has 17 runs on the tally, they should have 17 runs on the final. And then write staff members on every score sheet. So the spaces at the bottom, write the supervisor, scorekeeper, and umpires on the game. This helps us in the office the next day if there's an ejection or incident or accident. We can get up with the staff members and find out what happened. Also some general tips. Someone cannot just know their Eagle ID, so if they don't have their wallet and they say, I know my number, can I play? No, they must have a photo ID. And if they don't have a 900 number, they cannot play. So if, for example, what happens most often is someone will say, I'm an East Georgia student, this is my East Georgia ID. That doesn't fly. They have to have a 900 number, because if they have a RAC member, then they have a 900 number. This is an example of the score sheet you will use to keep stats in the game during softball. It's a two-sided score sheet with one team on each side. You may hear this referred to as the messy score sheet. You'll actually keep stats during the game on this sheet, and at the end of each game you will transfer the stats to a one-sided clean score sheet that you'll see on the next slide. This is a clean score sheet. You will not have to fill out the bases on this score sheet. You only have to total the tallies from the previous score sheet and then fill out the other information at the bottom. This makes it much easier for us to input stats in the office, so please write legibly on this score sheet. For softball player sign-in, you have one scorekeeper per game that keeps track of all stats and then transfers stats over at the end of the game. When you're signing in softball players, remember to note there is no jewelry allowed, as with any intramural sport. Pockets are allowed, so flag football is the only sport that pockets are not allowed, and that's because you're reaching at the waist level. In softball, there are no jerseys required, so you can write defining features such as clothing colors to help you remember if you'd like. So, for example, player A, parentheses, red hat, just to remember where you are in the lineup. And then it's a minimum of 8 players to start, so if they have 8 they can play, and then more can come as the game goes on. Some softball rules. Each men's and women's team may have a maximum of 10 players on the field, and as previously mentioned, a minimum of 8 to begin the game. Only players who are physically present may be on the lineup to start the game, so players that are not present cannot be on the lineup card that scorekeepers receive. If Team A has 8 people present and then the 9th and 10th arrive in the second inning, then they can be added to the bottom of the lineup. If a player is dropped from the lineup and can't be replaced, an out will be called during the missing players at bat. So Team A, Johnny leaves for an emergency, and his spot comes up in the lineup, and nobody can replace him, they don't have a substitute, then that will be called an out. The additional hitter rule means that teams may bat a lineup of 11 players. So for example, if I want to bat first for Team A, but I don't want to play in the field, I can bat first in the lineup the whole game, but my team can still only field 10 players. So it's kind of like the designated hitter rule in baseball, in that the player does not play in the field, but it can be an extra player in the lineup. So I can bat 11 but field 10. Just think of it that way. And then any substitute who is subbed for again may not come back into the game. So if I go into the game and then Mike comes and takes my place, I can't go back into the game. I'm out for the entirety of the game. Some more softball rules. Each game will be timed by a scorekeeper. The game will last 7 innings or 50 minutes, whichever comes first. So if an inning starts at the 48-minute 30-second mark, then that inning must be completed. And then if there's a tie, extra innings will be played until a winner is determined. So 7th inning comes, there's a tie, we're going to the top of the 8th to determine a winner. The mercy rule is, as it's written on the screen, 20 runs after 3 innings, 15 runs after 4, and 10 after 5. And these are after the full innings, so the top and the bottom of the inning. If at any time after 5 innings a team goes up by 10 or more runs, then the mercy rule applies. So in the 6th inning, the team's up by 9, they hit a home run, that's the mercy rule. Team wins. The home run limit is a rule to aid competition, and it only applies to outside the park or over the fence home runs. After the home run limit is reached, any thereafter will be recorded as an out. So if in competitive leagues the limit is 6, in recreational the limit is 2. So if I'm playing in competitive, and my team's hit 6 home runs already, and then I hit another one, that counts as an out for me. These are the softball correct rules. The correct rules are mostly the same with a couple of differences. Teams may be a maximum of 10 players with 5 men, 5 women. And it's a minimum of 8 players to begin, and it has to be 4 men, 4 women. Each team may bat a maximum of 12 in the lineup. This would be with 1 male additional hitter and 1 female additional hitter. So up to 12 with 2 additional hitters. And then teams must alternate male, female in the lineup. So if 2 males bat back to back, it would be counted as an out. So this would apply if team A, it's male, female, male, but the female has to leave for some reason, then that'll just be an out for her spot. These are the softball statistics, and all of these have corresponding videos on Folio. So a run will occur when a player rounds first, second, and third, and then finally runs across home plate. So every time a player crosses home, it's a run. An at-bat is each batter's turn at facing the pitcher. One thing to note, if there is a hit, then there must have been an at-bat, so there has to be a tally in both boxes. A hit is when the player makes contact with the ball and reaches base. Note, without the benefit of an error or a walk. So you'll see what those are next, but if there's an error or a walk, it cannot be counted as a hit. An error is when a fielder misplays a ball. So an example is somebody overthrowing the first baseman, or the ball rolling under somebody's glove in the outfield. That'd be an error. A walk occurs when a batter accrues 4 balls as called by the umpire, and a ball is a pitch that the umpire rules to be outside of the strike zone. So it's basically an unhittable ball. More scoring and stats. A home run or outside the park home run happens when the batter hits the ball in the air over the fence, and these are the ones that count towards the home run limit. On the other side, an inside the park home run does not count towards the home run limit. This happens when a batter hits the ball and can run all 4 bases without being tagged out. So if I hit a line drive into the corner nobody catches it, and it's rolling around, and I'm able to round all 4 bases, that would be an inside the park home run. It goes towards my home run tally, my individual, but it does not count towards a team's home run limit. This is a completed Messi score sheet. Notice how all the stats are tallied and the runs are written out on the bottom, as well as the total runs. Also notice how the diamonds on the score sheet are written on and filled in. This corresponds to the type of hit that each batter gets, so you will learn if somebody hits a single, it's just one line between what would be home plate and what would be first base. And you'll learn more about this in your shadow ships. This is a good example of a completed Messi score sheet. And then this is a completed clean score sheet that is transferred over to at the end of the game. You'll notice how the winning team is circled and the winning team's score is circled as well, 18-13. Also notice how the tallies have been totaled into numbers on the score sheet, so 4-2-2-0. And also notice how Kelsey got the captain's signature at the end of the game and wrote down all staff members on the game in case we needed to follow up. This is a good example of a completed clean score sheet.